Hey y'all, it's Jackie with Jackie's Recent Things, and we're going to do a corner swag. You can apply this same technique to your house, whatever you want to use it for. Once again, we're going to use that garland that I love so much, and we're just going to use it here and go corner to corner with it. So I kind of want it to stick out, but I want it to dangle down a little bit further down here. So I'm going to start over here with my zip tie to the side and zip tie it down. Pull my pieces out of the way. Once again, notice I'm not flipping it over to zip tie. Don't do that. Because you don't want that sharp piece that you cut off scratching the wall or the door. So now I'm going to grab another piece, another zip tie, pull this out, make sure it's pretty straight. I'm going to zip tie the corner. Go straighten this out. Now I'm going to put the zip tie below here to keep this from sliding up. So I'm going to use it to kind of tighten that up. So now we're going to kind of pull our garland apart. And I need one more zip tie here because that's wanting to wander up. So let's grab another one and we'll put one more zip tie. All right, so let's finish spreading our pieces apart. Try to do it like as evenly as possible as far as spreading your pieces apart. Like so. So we kind of know what we're doing. This is going to be our little guy that we're going to attach. I got this from Wilds Creek and Company. So we're going to put him down here at the corner. Now I want to make sure that he sits flush as possible. So here's the problem. He is styrofoam. So I like using styrofoam items. So we're going to place a piece in his hat and we're going to place a piece behind. So I'm going to grab a couple of pipe cleaners and we're going to flip him over. Stab a hole down in there. Now I'm going to secure this in 2 ways. Because I don't want this little guy moving. And because I'm working with styrofoam, my hot glue gun is on low temp. Careful that I don't go down through the hat with my ice pick. And I really want him to be flush with the bottom, so I'm going to attach the bottom first. And then I'm going to tuck that pipe cleaner underneath him. Now I want to make sure that he does not move now. So what I'm going to do is I am going to shoot some hot glue underneath the backside. And that's going to keep him down flush where I want him. So give that a minute to let it cool. The good thing about using a low temp is it doesn't take long for it to cool. So now I'm going to come up here and attach his head. Now I'm not going to cut the pipe cleaners off because then you have a sharp edge, so I'm just tucking them in behind. And then once again, I'm going to shoot a dab of hot glue underneath there, and that's to hold the pipe cleaners and make sure my little snowman doesn't move. So the next thing we want to do while that's going to cool off and we're ready to start up here is we're going to start adding in some greenery and some elements. So I'm going to start out here with this, anticipating that I'm going to add a bow also, but I want to pull these apart. And I'm going to take this pine cone out because it's pretty bulky. Not because I don't like pine cones, but it's bulky. And then I'm going to cut the stem off just a little bit. Now you can either zip tie, but I prefer to just use the garland ties because it's going to help me cover the stem up too. To tie this in. And then to really incorporate it into the garland, I'm going to pull this up. So you want to start trying to give this a little bit of life, pulling things up so it's not, you don't want flat. You want everything to have a little bit of life of its own. And then to keep the balance, I've got another one. These stems came from Big Lots. So once again, this pine cone right here is kind of bulky, so I'm going to cut it off. And then this is my end point. And once again, I'm going to cut the stem off a little bit. If Ben wants to get me a stem cutter for Christmas, I'm not going to say no. And we're going to start tying these in. So I'm going to lift that up. I'm going to pull these branches just a bit. Give it some life. I'm going to pull that up and out because I don't want to tie that down. And then to really make it nice and thick, we're going to add one more in. So this one we're going to have to cut the stem just quite a bit shorter to tie it in. And once again, I just feel like this pine cone adds quite a bit of bulk to it, so I'm going to cut it off. I'm going to kind of, notice how I'm kind of twisting this a little bit because we've got the two pine cones and I want to add just a little bit of thickness to it. I'm going to pull these up this time just to add a little bit of height also. So what I'm trying to do is separate out my like elements. And get that good and tied in. And we got one more to go in to really make it nice and thick. And once again, we're going to lop off a lot of that. So I'm trying to make the pine cones is what I'm focusing on. I'm trying to make my pine cones kind of go different directions and give it a little bit of height too. So once again, I'm going to kind of pull on these. I think we'll pull that pine cone up. So what I'm doing now is I'm going to fluff this stuff up a little bit. Let's give it some nice life. So that was 4 really nice full picks that I tied in. So that's a, you know, super cheap and easy way. And as y'all can see how beautiful this already is just with 4 picks. So see how simple that is to just do something that nice with just 4 picks. So we're gonna still keep it simple, y'all. And what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna add in some ribbon. So I'm taking my cue from the Snowman. I still want to incorporate the Snowman in. To what we're doing in his color. So his scarf is gray and his hat. So these are the ribbons I've chosen. They both have a flocked edge on them. So we're just going to make a nice little simple hand bow. Not every bow that you put into something has to be big and glorious. So some people, when they make a hand bow, they start at the bottom. I start with the top loops with my bows. So I'm going to grab a pipe cleaner here. So I know I'm going to want a lot of tail because the tail I'm going to integrate, and I'll show y'all. I'm going to integrate it into my design. So I'm going to kind of measure that. And it ended up being about 22 inches. So I'm going to go 24 inches for my tail. Just to be safe and give myself a little bit of fluff room for my... And then I'm going to start with my loops. So I'm making a pretty large, over-exaggerated loop. And that's going to be my center loop, which I'll show y'all why here just a little bit. So this is, I'm just going to exaggerate this one up. And then I'm going to make 2 more identical loops. And then my tail, we'll cut it just a little bit long. Can y'all tell I'm not left-handed? So I got my tail. And now I'm going to put some gray in here. Once again, I'm going to exaggerate the loop, and I'm going to do this one just a little bit bigger. So I'm just going to do the 2 loops with the gray. So I'm going to go ahead and tie this in while it snags onto everything. make sure I'm pulling it really, really tight in. And I'm going to go ahead and cut my tail. Get it out of the way. So this tail I'm going to bring down. This one we're going to just fluff up. So not every, like I said, not every bow has to be humongous. But when you do make a bow and it has large loops, it does have to have a good support system behind it. But I want to go ahead and loop my ribbon down. So you can either do this with, you can put this in with pipe cleaners if you want to, or tie this in with pipe cleaners, tie it straight to the frame. But once again, this is where our garland is going to come in handy. And I'm just going to find a couple of pieces of the garland. And I'm just going to tie it in.